All right, folks, in this game I play a nearly 2,000 rated player, almost high 1900s, as you can see. And the lesson in this game is going to be planning in chess, finding the right plan, finding harmony in your pieces. And a lot of times when we play a game of chess, whether we like it or not, we end up in a chaotic position, and it's our job to find chaos and bring order to that chaotic position. And a lot of times we do that by having a flexible position or a flexible state of mind and seeing the potential in our pieces and the potential in our position. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean because that's kind of confusing. I totally get it. But I'm going to show you right here in this game. First of all, this is a no-brainer for me. The knight's here. I don't want to lose the dark square bishop because the dark squares are all empty or weak, as they say. And my light square bishop's not doing much. Everything's on light squares. So I could move my bishop out of the way or up here. That's fine. I just simply chop off the knight. It's the quickest way to handle it. Now I get another move. It's my move again. And I want to develop as quickly as possible in the opening. So I take and develop my queen. My opponent is playing g6 here. g6 is a tell usually that the bishop's going to be fianchettoed either soon or at some point. a4 I play here. Now, the reason why I played a4 is because I was thinking, again, with flexibility in mind, he can't go queenside. He can't castle queenside because the g file is open. So he's probably going to go queenside. And I was thinking, because he played g6, it's very easy to attack the queenside when the king's there, right? Or the king side too, if they play a fianchetto position. So I was thinking about keeping my king in the center, like moving it up. And then if the king ever castled queenside, I would have this rook behind the pawn, and I would open up the a file. That was just an idea, so I played a4. He stops that idea right in its tracks. So he's a good player, and he just wanted to stop any type of attack potentially on the queen side. So I attack his queen, he blocks, and I bring my knight into the game. He goes and I guess wants to chop off that knight because it's the knight up, when it moves up the board, it gets more powerful. So we trade, and I am obviously attacking a fork here. He chops off the knight, so no longer am I attacking that. And he castles kingside. So he threw me for a loop, but he can castle kingside, and it's not really a big problem because even though the g file is open or semi-open, it's not open on my side, which would really make it open. So in other words, I can't really capitalize on it too easily. I would have to kind of push my pawn to h4, my rook to h3, and then g3. But it's not easy to capitalize. Also, the center's closed, which makes it very difficult for me to, move my pieces around to the king side and get a quick attack. So, in fact, he can use this g file for his rook to attack me. So, in fact, I would be hesitant, and I wouldn't want to castle kingside myself now, because, like I said, he moves his king into the corner, his rook on g8, and in my opinion, which is fact, that would be a bad idea to castle kingside. So instead, I play h4. He develops, I play h5. I'm just going to simply try to get my pawn up here and gain more space, allow my rook to get into the game, and take key squares away from his king at some point. He stops that, and I play rook h3. So now I'm getting prepared at some point to bring my rook into the g file. Maybe I'll bring my queen over and attack this pawn. Maybe bring my knight in here, castle queenside, get this rook over, something like that. Okay, so both players playing very well here. A very already chaotic game. We have the g file open and the king's castle on the king side. My king is still in the center. The center is closed though, so it's not a big deal. It's just kind of a funky, my pawn's on b5. It's just a funky position. When two players that are good, if I can say that, higher rated players, sometimes the game looks chaotic like beginners are playing. But it's because we know how to deviate from the basics, and we know no matter what we're playing, even though the position might look crazy or silly, we're doing it because we understand the ideas behind the moves. And as long as you have good ideas behind the moves and they're tactically sound, you can play them. So I castle queenside, and he starts attacking. Now the whole thing is when your opponent's attacking your king side, you want to close the position. He wants to open the position. So I really can't stop him from opening the position here. I mean, if I do this, he goes en passant. If I challenge him, he takes. If I do nothing and just move my rook, then he comes here. He's going to open the position. If I pass him, it doesn't really do anything because now he just, he's moving his pawn down there, and it looks scary. So it's just something I have to deal with. It is what it is. So he moves his pawn there, and I just go along with my plan. Sometimes when you can't stop your opponent's ideas, you just have to go along with your plan. Now my opponent plays the aforementioned a3 move. I play this to try to just hold him off. I don't want his rook open, so I just close it as best I can. Now he comes here. I know it looks scary. He's one move away from queening, but I simply move out of the way, and now I have my rook and my queen guarding here, so I'm totally fine for now. It's something to keep your eye on, but I'm fine for now. So now, the game looks crazy. My king's in the center. Again, for a second time this game, my rooks don't make sense. Well, this rook makes sense, but they're not connected. They're not really harmonious. We have a very chaotic position. And to be fair, his position's a little chaotic himself. Now, the idea is in these positions that are kind of closed and also chaotic, we have to find ideas and potential in the position. We have to take the chaos that unfolded, and we have to bring order out of it. So how do we do that? My opponent looks like he's deciding, which makes sense, is to double the rooks on the A file and just go for a queen. Which makes sense. At some point, he would still need a little bit more help there, but that's his idea. So I stop that before he can really do it, before he can start piling up. So I just blockade that, and he brings his rook, which I didn't understand, to e8, but I think it's more of a waiting move on his part. Like, he doesn't really know what to do, so he's like, I'm just going to move my rook over here and kind of see what I'm going to do, because, again, it's a slow, semi-closed position where, we do have time to just, formulate ideas and see what our opponent's idea is. Okay, so now I play knight e1. And knight e1, the computer says, is a good move, which, might surprise some of you because it looks very strange. Now, this position is very crazy. It's very unorthodox. It's the types of positions I love because I don't have a formal, chess education, if you want to call it that. I never had a chess lesson or anything, which is funny because now I'm a chess teacher. But I kind of like to play, crazy, unorthodox positions at the core of who I am as a chess player. I like crazy chess positions. The point of this is my knight actually, believe it or not, on f3, and although it looks good, it really has nowhere to go. So this is a rerouting move, knight e1, and again, you only really have time to play a rerouting knight move like this when the position's closed or you're in the endgame or close to endgame. You can't really do it in an open position in the middle game because you'll get you get hit by a mating attack or a fork or some type of crazy tactic that everyone's that you would get hit with. But okay, so the point is, after a move like what he played was h4, I bring my knight to d3. And now d3 is a much better option for my knight. Now, the moves I was looking at was I could bring my knight to b4 and then simply bring it to c6, where it would be anchored by a pawn, and it would be a great knight. And also at some point, maybe I can go to f4 and then go, if I want to go to the kingside direction, and handle it that way. Also, I want to say, if you do like this content and my videos, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. The more subscribers I get, the quicker I can monetize. And if I monetize, I can keep making these videos and I can keep this channel up. So if you do find it in your heart to subscribe, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Anyway, my opponent here plays f4 himself, which is unnecessary. It weakens his king side. Again, why does it weaken his king? Because there's an open diagonal to his king that is, now it's open. That was closed. It was very unnecessary. This is actually kind of integral to his king position. And it's just attacking a rook. It's kind of like a one-move attack. So I move out of the way and attack his queen. He moves back and attacks my g2 pawn. I move back and attack this. So if he takes my pawn, I'm going to take his pawn, which is what happened. He took my pawn. I took with the knight. Now, notice the flexibility. My knight came to d3. I had the idea of coming to c6, but the knight also, like I said before, could go to f4. That was my secondary option. I didn't want him to go to f4, but if he did, if he could, or if he had to, if he was called upon, he could. And this position, yeah. The queen took on g2. I take back a pawn, and I attack the queen. And that's where my knight's going. That's where the position dictated my knight should go. So I could put my knight here because of flexibility. Okay, so my opponent now obviously pins my knight to the king. So I just move out of the way. Now he replaces that pawn that was there before with this pawn. I could go en passant, but I'm not going to do that because I'm bringing his knight into the game. I'm opening up the game. My king's in the center. Moves like, let's say I play like a random move, like, I don't know what I'd play. Oh, that's not even a good random move. But let's say I play like a random move or something like that. I mean, we might have just moves like knight e4. Who knows? Maybe even opening up the game at some point with moves like this and the rook's here and my queen. And, it's not good. In other words, I didn't play that. There's no reason to open up the game here because that opens up the game for him and his attack. I already have an opening for my attack. It's the G file. Now, I don't need this. I need closed because my king's in the center. So I want my pawns here. I want a closed position where my king is because my king is in the center. So I want this position in the center to be closed. Just like if I was castle traditionally, I always say close the position if your opponent starts launching pawns at you. Don't open the position. It's the same thing. Okay, so I play queen e3 here. My opponent looks like he's rerouting his knight. The computer says knight f8. Excellent. I don't even understand it. I guess, actually, I'm sorry. I do understand it. I do understand it. Very simple. Okay. I was going to come here. He's blocking that. So that is an excellent move. And that's a pretty obvious move, actually. Because you don't want my knight to just get here unchallenged. Okay, so now I just simply put my rook onto the open G file. And again, I'm finding harmony in my position. If you looked several moves ago, it looked like my position had no harmony in it, which it didn't. It was chaotic. But it looked like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. But now you can see my knight is better. My queen is like in the center, but like poised to come to the king side if it wants. My rook is on the open G file. And this rook is poised to come here and double up on the open G file. And all of a sudden, everything comes into fruition. And it's not that so much I have a winning game or a winning attack. I just have a good position, a good harmonious position. And that's all you can really ask for. The attack will take care of itself as long as you have your pieces, a good position and your pieces are working harmoniously together. Trust me. Okay, so now my opponent moves out of the way. I double up the rooks. And yes, you're not seeing things. I'm letting him queen. But however, if he does queen, he's going to be very sad because then I'm going to have check, check, and then we have finally checkmate. So he can't queen. So I'm indirectly defending the queening square by attack. The best defense sometimes is a good attack, as cliche as that sounds. So he instead decides to play rook e7, which is actually the losing move. Now, rook e7 makes sense. And he's a good player, and it's a good idea. But sometimes you're a good player, you have a good idea, but it just doesn't work out. Sometimes things just go bad. And the reason why that's not good is because, now he wants the queen, and if he does, I can't do that whole mating attack because his rook's here to take. However, what I can do is rook h3. And now he took, because he didn't really know what else to do. He does have better moves, but he doesn't have a good position in general. And he took here, and his idea was after I take back, which is what I did, he's going to queen. Now, yes, I'm going to take his queen, but he's going to take my queen. I'm sorry, my rook. And now, I have a queen, and he doesn't, but he has two rooks. So I have a knight, he has a knight, and he has two rooks. And two rooks are worth actually a little bit more than a queen, if you want to get technical. So it's material-wise, it made sense. However, his rooks are not harmonious, right? They're not connected. They're not working in conjunction with each other. They're not a good partnership. They're not a good couple. Rooks should be like a couple, right? Like a spouse, right? They should be working together. And when they're not working together, and the kings, especially when the king's loose, the queens can dominate them very easily. The two rooks could dominate the queen if the rooks are working well together, but they're not here. And the reason why the rook on e7 was so bad, that move, was because after this exchange, I just play queen h4, attacking the rook, simply attacking the rook. And now there's too many weaknesses. My opponent plays rook g7, so it looks okay. His rook is on the open g file. It looks like he's going to start getting some, harmony right here, some, e harmony. But unfortunately, it's just a little bit too little too late. I played queen d8, and my opponent actually here resigned. And I'm going to show you why it's such a bad position for him and why he had to resign. So I'm obviously attacking the knight. If he moves, let's say, rook g8, I have queen e7 check. After king h8, now my knight comes in here. And after something like this, I have queen f6, not taking back right away. And after, let's say, rook here, now h6, g6. And, I mean, I'm taking everything here. I'm going to take this. This is going to be a pass pawn when I take this. That's most important, and that's not very good. And that's the best defense he has. But a more obvious way to play this after queen d8, because I'm attacking his knight, is you might just say, what about knight d7? Where after knight d7, you might think it's a bad move because of knight e6, and it is. But even better is simply knight g6. Knight g6, I'm just threatening checkmate. His best move to stop that is to take, actually. That's how strong the knight is. I take the rook back with check, and after he takes, I take, and I'm totally, clearly winning this game. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. If you like that video, check out this one. Catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.